Janine, I know your life at the minute is pretty busy and you've
It
got a
is.
few things going on. So I really appreciate you coming on to talk to us and just share a bit about your experience. So I was going to ask you just to like introduce yourself and maybe like tell us about your life before you started. It's TIR, so the acronym is TIR, Thinking into Results. So that's what you'll hear us refer to.
Yeah, no worries, Lorna. So I'll give you a quick potted history. So I've had quite a varied career in terms of things I've done and kind of how I started career. So I'm a trained chef. I was a chef for around about 12, 13 years. And then I changed career. For people that know me, Jackie will know this well. For people that know that I like to talk a lot. So I moved into the contact centre environment and started work for an insurance company. So quite a change in career. And went through a number of roles as part of the RSA insurance company that I worked for. So those roles kind of spanned a number of different areas, from leadership to capacity planning and forecasting. So I did quite a different kind of group of roles that were all kind of at the same level. I had promotions, and I went on varying different courses, whether they be leadership courses, people development courses. And at the time, you go on these courses, they help you in the role you're in at the time. And sometimes it's often you get different people that come into the roles and different training comes into the role that people bring along with them. So I'd done quite a lot of different training courses. Kind of fast forward a little bit, those roles I'd done, I'd got masses of experience, loved my time at that company, but knew I didn't feel fulfilled. So 5 years ago, I left and I started contracting. And I've worked for a number of different companies. I've had some amazing contracts and I've learned so much along the way in terms of what I've done. I've gone out silly little things like, I knew I couldn't work in London, for example. These were all paradigms. Couldn't work in London because I couldn't navigate a tube system. That was just me. That was a complete paradigm with me. So I got an opportunity to take on a contract that I really wanted to get into. And it was in London. So I went and worked in London for 13 months. I'm pleased to say that paradigm's been overcome. And as I told Lorna a little while ago, I can navigate the tubes in London now. I like the back of my hand. So that's been a massive goal achieved for me. But again, I knew I didn't feel fulfilled in what I was doing, even though I'd done some amazing roles, some amazing contracts, being paid really well for them. There was just something I wasn't fulfilled in. Around 7 years ago, when I worked at RSA, we'd gone through numerous kind of restructures. So around every 18 months to 2 years, we've gone through these restructures. And at the last one, I kind of knew I wanted to move on. I knew at this point I wanted to leave and I applied for redundancy. I didn't get redundancy at the time. But Lorna and Jackie were both part of the almost the I want to say development exercise, but wasn't. It was almost the restructuring exercise of reapplying for roles. And Lorna was part of a number of sessions that I went into. So they were, for people that know the types of sessions I'm talking about, there'd be like a role play, there'd be an interview, and Lorna was part of some of those sessions that I was involved in. At the time, I remember being in this environment with Lorna and always feeling like I would do something with Lorna in the future. Now, don't ask me why I thought that, and I don't know even to today why I thought that at the time, but I always knew there was a connection with something that we'd do in the future. Anyway, a little bit of time went on. I got a different role, and fast forward 12 months, I left RSA and started contracting. I think Lorna had left, Jackie had left, so there was lots of change going on. And then I've come across Lorna on Instagram and we reconnected on Instagram. How's it going? What you doing? What you up to? You're still in the corporate world? And Lorna kind of gave me some background on the fact that she left and she was now running her own business, doing TIR. And I just got a shiver actually. Straight away I knew this was the connection from 7 years ago. I knew this was the reason why we'd reconnected. So Laura and I had a call. We talked a lot about kind of what TIR covers, and I knew everything that I'd started to feel about my next steps and where I wanted to go. needed this type of support. So I knew there was that definite reason why I wanted to join TIR. I was unclear on my goals for the next 5 to 10 years. I still lacked confidence. I procrastinated a lot, and just still felt that unfulfilled feeling of, what am I doing? I felt like I was drifting a bit still. But I always knew that I wanted to help people. I knew that. That was what I always knew. And I always knew potentially that I'd go back and do something with food at some point in time, but I just didn't know how they were connected or what I would do. Um, so fast forward to March this year, or I think maybe Feb, and I joined TIR. And I can honestly say it's been an absolute game changer for me. It's been like nothing I've ever experienced before. So all the corporate kind of training programs I've been on were great at the time, but they were not TIR. They were absolutely not TIR. And joining TIR and getting into this, I was kind of thinking, what's it going to do? How is it going to change for me? How are these 12 lessons really going to help me reach my goals? Lorna's really coached me to understand that you don't need to know how. You need to know what you need to do or what you want to do, and you focus on the what. Once you've focused on the what and gained real clarity around what you want to do, then the how comes with it. So for me, in terms of defining my goals, I've almost landed at a place throughout this last 6 to 7 months where I probably never thought I'd get to, or at a place I maybe never dreamed I'd be doing. But I almost feel like the goals are real clear to me now. And what's happening as these goals have become clearer is things have just become in front of me. So I'm making connections with people. People are coming to me with things. It almost feels like, I mean, I often drop Lorna voice messages or group messages, and I'm kind of going, what is going on? These things are happening. What is going on? And even personally for me, I'll whisper it, I'm nearly 50 next year. So you're almost kind of question, I'm too old for doing some of these things. You know, again, another paradigm, I'm too old. And I joined the gym a couple of years ago to really keep healthy. I had a couple of health issues, keep healthy, keep focused. And then I'd gone through a couple of rough patches over the last 18 months to 2 years, and I knew the gym really cleared my mind, support, really helped with anxiety and stuff. And there's a reason why I'm telling you this bit as well. And as part of the gym, I was asked to join a running club, and again said, seriously, I'm nearly 50, I can't run, even though I used to run for a local running club many years ago. So I just kind of kept pushing it off and pushing it off. And then I started just doing little bits of jogging around the block and stuff like that. But at the same time, as I then joined TIR, I thought a lot about what am I teaching my daughter, because I tell her to do stuff, but I don't show her. And actually, a lot of what I'm telling her to do, I'm doing the opposite of. So I decided it was time to show her that actually trying to achieve your goals, once you're clear and once you get into the right place, anything's achievable, absolutely anything. So I started running a bit more, and with the coaching and support Lorna was given, a lot of it kind of manifested in me professionally and personally. So I took up a challenge that I would support a local charity with a group of us that are part of our local gym, and we would run the length of Route 66, which is 2,400 miles, throughout the month of May, and we'd all contribute. It's about 35 of us, and we'd obviously, with COVID, we'd all do it individually, and then for the last 40 miles, we'd all get on the road and run, socially distanced, but we'd all run so we could collectively get kind of some filming and some photos. And I ran 74 miles in the month of May. So for me, in October, thinking, I can't run, I'm far too old, I'm never going to even be able to run a mile. With TIR, focusing on what you can do rather than how you're going to do it, and picking up as incremental goals. I firmly believe, with the support of the club and with TIR, I ran 74 miles, not thinking I could ever do that. The real kind of focus for me though was really enjoyed doing the CV writing and the business planning for people. But there was still this connection to helping people in a slightly different way and connecting it with food again. So bringing the kind of my old career back into this. So I started to reach out to different people regarding mindset, mindset coaching, and tagging that to all the stuff I'd learned through TIR with mindset as well. But equally thinking about the amount of people, whether it be kids, whether it be adults, who are struggling to release weight. And actually, one of my friends was a prime example. She'd gone to Slimming World for 20 years and her goal was to release weight, but she weighs more than that now than she did 20 years ago. So I thought, here's a real great opportunity for me to support her and start to realise kind of these goals a little bit more. So confidence had been a real issue for me for many, many years. So I didn't believe in myself. I questioned everything. Even when people gave me feedback, I would question that feedback was about me. Even if people gave me developmental feedback and also feedback of what I did great, I'd focused on the development feedback. Even if there was a whole page of stuff that I did really well, I focused in on anything that was potentially negative. I almost feel like I don't believe that person that I was back then to what I am now, because confidence for me, for everything I've done this year, I don't question anymore. Because I fully believe in what I'm capable of. I fully believe what I can do. And if there's things that I feel I can't do, I've got connections. I've made so many connections now that I either go to the TIR family or I go to the connections that I've made. I listen to loads of podcasts and I make connections with those people on the podcast. If something resonates with me, I go and send them a message. I would never have dreamed of doing that before. I go and send them a message, and I've made connections and built relationships with a lot of these people that I listen to right now. So there's so much to be said about where confidence holds you back and actually having confidence where it can take you. So 100%, I've gone from almost 0 to 100 within the space of about 6 to 7 months.
Janine, I know you're talking, so you're concentrating. Deanne's just asking, she's enjoying your story. What strategies have you used to help with procrastination?
I think for me, Deanne, it's been a lot around being really clear. So again, with TIR, as we've gone through the first couple of lessons, I was still kind of focused on what is it I still want. And again, I was still focused on this what and how. I think gaining real clarity on my goals has completely stopped the procrastination, because I used to totally focus on what am I going to do, how am I going to do it, when am I going to do it, I'm not going to be able to do it, I'm not confident. That was the complete cycle constantly for years and years throughout my life. So the fact I'm really clear and I'm productive. So I use something called a 6-minute diary. So it plays into a lot of what Lorna coaches is on. And that's kind of a structured approach to journaling and affirmations and gratitude. But it got me into a real rhythm of doing it, having the structure. But we're doing a lot more around journaling now. And what that's done is help me almost manifest the goal. So I'm totally focused on kind of productivity each day around the goal and knowing what I'm going to do each day or every couple of days or each week that relates to that goal, as opposed to just sat thinking about it and thinking I'm never going to do it, so why bother thinking anymore, put it to bed, and then I'd carry on procrastinating constantly. So the goal setting, the clarity around the goal, and being productive around what you're going to focus on to get you to keep connected to that goal on a frequent basis, it is probably what I would kind of wrap that up in a nutshell with. Because I knew I wanted to do something for me and run my own business, there was always that kind of pressure of knowing you wanted to do something different and not feeling fulfilled. And I think with corporate life, I think tension and stress often just comes with that. But I equally then went into the contracting world, working for myself in corporate businesses. And in some of the contracts I've undertaken have felt similar. I've had a really challenging contract this year, probably the most challenging to date. And although there's been stressful times, I'm I'm really clear on my future goal. So that for me is, as I've felt that because I'm really focused and clear, that the stress of this job is going to go at the end of the contract, or will go partway through the contract. Um, but equally in this role, I don't feel I lack confidence in what I'm doing. Where previously I may have lacked confidence to say, you know, to provide feedback, or to be more challenging in the program, to let them know where things are kind of going wrong, regardless of what level people are operating at. So the confidence has really helped with that, and really helped to challenge into the program. But equally, because I'm really clear on the goal, the stress kind of doesn't feel like it's stress anymore. What was the strategy for setting your goal, and did you use a SMART model or something else? So TIR is completely different, Kathy. So and it's really interesting, because I think from a corporate environment, you're very focused on SMART goal setting and using specific models. It's really interesting in TIR, because the way in which the 12 lessons are taught, you almost feel like there's not a specific model, but TIR overall is the model. And it's quite hard to explain. So I'm sure Lorna will keep me straight on this. As I've gone through the lessons, and they're designed in a way that they get you structured to understand what you need to do to get you to identify the goal and drive yourself towards it. So for quite a little while, I was thinking, maybe I'm not doing this right, because I'm not clear on what the goal is. I'm not really sure. But actually, on reflection, those lessons were taking me on a journey to actually identifying it.
Really interesting around the goal, because it's reassuring to know it can become clearer, because you're not, most people don't go, I immediately know exactly what I want. It's rare. It takes a little bit of, because we kind of shoot too low, don't we? We shoot too low. So the minute you join TIR, I'm like, you're not shooting that low. You need to open that up, and then people go. Then you kind of get clearer and clearer, and say, yeah, actually coming in, I was playing it safe, because you don't know it's that voice that's making you play it safe that we deal with.
Yeah, and I think just on the goal bit as well, Lauren, I know we've chatted about this. So although I'm really clear on those goals, there's other goals for me that are supporting this, which are I'm aiming to work 3 days a week. I'm aiming to make sure that I'm meeting up with people and having a coffee every Friday, because I don't work on a Friday. So I'm talking as if I'm doing that now. So again, when I'm journaling and writing my goals, I write them as if I've got them now. I want to be spending more time abroad. Again, I'm writing about what that looks like. I used to always say, well, I'm not going to go abroad, am I? Because I can't afford that. So it was that constant, negative language that I used that stopped me. So it's those goals that I probably never considered before, but they're goals that form part of my wider strategy for the goals that I'm aiming for as well.
One thing that doesn't always come through when we talk about like the tangible results is, how quick can you describe how you've been, like how you've felt, from a well-being? I think Nat kind of asked some of the question about that busyness and anxiety, but overall, what impacts it had.
So for me, I was probably quite manic in terms of I'd worry about things. I'd be quite manic at getting things done. Everything had to be done today. I'd worry about what people thought if I didn't deliver stuff on time. And actually what I've realised is it's not about quantity, it's about quality. And for me, that's about me and my personal life as well as professional life. So what I find is I very much take a step back, and a lot of the time I focus on, actually, what am I doing now? Is that taking me to my goal? And if it's not, I'm not doing it, I'm stopping it. So everything around being manic, I've always been someone that spoke really quickly. So people can sometimes interpret that I've got quite a manic way of speaking. But for me personally, I don't worry about things. I don't get manic about things. I'm constantly focused on the goal. So if things are not saving me, why am I worrying about it? What are going to save me to keep me connected and focused on this goal, whether that be personally or professionally, and how can I stop and reduce kind of any stress? And a lot of it is around planning, planning and keeping focused on definitely on the mindset part of TIR. There's a lot to be said about all the mindset strategies that TIR teaches you. Kind of from the conscious and subconscious mind, and focused on actually how much you manifest from your subconscious that is just habits that you've formed over the years.
A question there from Kathy, Janine. I don't know if you can see it. Do you ever fall off track? And from where you want to be, and how do you get back on quickly? And do you ever get bored of your journey and need a switch or a release?
You know what, it's a really good question, Kathy, and it's really interesting. And I know we've spoke about this more recently in our group. We've talked a lot about frequency, and Lauren, I don't know whether you've spoke about this in the 6-week boot camp, but frequency and vibration. And when I first started TIR, I was thinking, okay, what have I got myself into? What is all this vibration and frequency? But I was really keen to understand what that was all about. And I learned quite quickly through the law of vibration that actually being around high vibration thinkers just raises your frequency by default. And what I've found is, as I've become more connected with people, whether it be at the gym, in the TIR group, other people I'm connecting with through podcasts, these are all high vibration thinkers. And again, I feel that as your frequency rises, you attract that, 100% attract it. And I found it a little bit bizarre at the start, thinking, what is this about? But as you understand and learn it, again, that becomes a game changer. So Kathy, don't get me wrong, I'm not ever saying I fall off track. I fell off track before, and I'd be 12 months before I got back on track. What I do now is I might fall off track because I'm really busy doing something else, and I'm thinking I'm not connected to the goal. I've not given me any time today. But I very, very quickly get back on and reconnect with the goal because I know that's what I want to do ultimately.
I know you've got a number of goals, and you've shared them, and there's other things you've done that you've not shared in this year. I could write a list, it would blow your mind. There's to do with producing PPE during COVID. I forgot that little project that you jumped into.
Yeah.
The question I want to ask you is, how certain are you that your goals are going to be realised?
100%, absolutely 100%, because I believe in them. 100% believe in me. I believe in the goals. I talk about them all the time. I keep connected to them. Anyone that listens, I tell them what I'm going to do. I tell them what it's going to look like. And I visualize what that life will be as if it's now happening. So 100% confidence that I'm on the track now to achieve what I feel like I was put here to do. And then that probably sounds a bit kind of out there, but I've always known I've wanted to help people. I've always felt that all of my life. I've just never known what or how. I absolutely know what now.
Well, thank you so much, Janine. You know who Janine is now, so if you do have questions, she can help you out.
Yeah, no, just drop me a message, honestly. Again, I can't, rave about TIR enough. So if any questions, anything anyone wants to ask or discuss, please just give me a shout.